In midlife, what happens is those things don't work anymore. Diets actually no longer work, which is bad and good, because sometimes you just want something to work quickly, but then at the same time, now you're learning that diets don't work, but guess what does?
Welcome to the Midlife Reinvention Podcast, a podcast helping women in career and life transitions achieve clarity on their next steps so they can transform uncertainty into an energizing next chapter. I'm your host, Kavita Ahuja, and the founder of It's My Time Now Coaching. If you're wondering what's next in your career or life, you are in the right place. Through solo and guest episodes, you'll gain practical tips, tools, and inspiration to help you uncover blocks, gain confidence, and be, do, and have what you want. I rediscovered myself after the age of 50, and I know you can too. It's my time now to help you do just that. I'm so excited you're here. Let's dive in. Welcome to this week's episode of the Midlife Reinvention Podcast. If you're struggling with weight gain, sugar cravings, and low energy as you navigate midlife changes, this episode is for you. Today, I speak with Nagina Abdullah, who is a weight loss coach for women in midlife, and she has helped more than 1,500 women in midlife successfully lose weight permanently and create a lifestyle change. In this episode, you will learn how to naturally boost your metabolism with specific foods and lifestyle changes, discover effective strategies to overcome sugar cravings and maintain a balanced diet, and gain insights into building muscle mass to improve your overall health and energy levels. If you want to transform your health and start living your best life, listen to this episode now. You can also join Nagina's 5-day Metabolism Boost for Midlife Women starting on June 17th. You'll discover a simple 5-step plan to naturally boost your metabolism through delicious food. Follow the link in the show notes to register for this free workshop to discover the 5-step roadmap for women in midlife to burn fat by combining and adding foods that increase metabolism naturally. And don't forget to stay till the end of this episode for a Motivational Monday segment where you will hear about some inspiring stories of women who transformed their bodies and health during midlife and went on to achieve great things. Enjoy the episode, and I'll see you at the end with the key takeaways. Welcome, everyone, to the Midlife Reinvention Podcast, a podcast for women in transition in their careers and life. I interview incredible women for this podcast who share their stories of reinvention and who will give you their advice on how to overcome the obstacles in your way to reach your vision for yourself in your next stage of life. This week, I am really excited to have on the show Nagina Abdullah. Nagina is a weight loss coach for women in midlife, and she's a founder of masalabody.com. She's helped more than 1,500 women in midlife successfully lose weight permanently and create a lifestyle change. After she lost 40 pounds by boosting her metabolism naturally, Nagina left a successful career as a management consultant with Deloitte in New York City, working with Fortune 500 healthcare companies to share her expertise with women. She now teaches women to boost their metabolism, especially when what worked before no longer works. She focuses on adding and combining natural metabolism boosting foods to reduce belly fat and get women unstuck so that they can live in their dream body. That sounds fabulous, Nagina. Welcome so much to the show. How are you?
I'm so good, Kavita. Thanks so much for having me.
Yes, I'm really excited to get into this. Let's all living in our dream body. I can't wait to hear all about that. So as you know, this podcast is all about kind of reinvention and how did a person get from where they are to from where they were to where they are today. And so maybe you could give us, I know I kind of stated that in the intro, but maybe just tell us a little bit about your journey of reinvention and what made you leave your successful career as a management consultant to start your own business, and kind of what was a trigger that caused you to do that?
Yes, absolutely. Well, my journey to reinvention, it started with my health. And what happened with that was that I had struggled my entire life to manage my sugar cravings, to be able to be at a weight that I felt comfortable in, that I felt good in my body. And I had tried everything out there, from tracking my food with MyFitnessPal to following Weight Watchers, doing diets like Atkins and South Beach. And no matter what I did, I could lose some weight, but I always struggled with my sugar cravings. And the moment I would lose about 5 to 10 pounds, I would just start eating all the foods that had helped me get to that point. And I would put that weight back on and more. And so I went to business school at NYU. I have my degree in molecular and cell biology from UC Berkeley. And so when I was after business school, I actually got my dream job. I was working at Deloitte Management Consulting in New York City. That was literally my dream job. I was getting to walk the streets. I would overlook Wall Street and overlook the Bull during our conference meetings. But what happened during that time is that though I was getting to work in my dream job, I was also not able to manage what I was eating as much because I was so busy. My schedule was 12-hour days oftentimes, and I was traveling constantly, which I actually enjoyed. I wasn't someone that hated traveling. I loved it. I loved every aspect of my career. But then I also had my children during that time when I was at Deloitte. And soon after that, I was really at my heaviest weight. And that was because I had 2 children. I was working a very demanding job, and I just did not feel good in my body anymore. So I didn't feel comfortable in my skin. I didn't like looking at myself in the mirror, and I actually didn't want to go anywhere, even though I'm very social. I wanted to stay at home because I just didn't feel comfortable in the clothes options that I had. And so after struggling with all of this, I realized I did not have the energy that I wanted. I didn't have the confidence that I knew that I used to have. And so I really needed to lose this weight. And so what I did was I started focusing on boosting my metabolism. And we're going to talk about exactly what those things are during this talk. But I started adding certain foods, combining foods. And over the course of 9 months, it was completely surprising to me. Not only did all of my sugar cravings disappear, but I lost 40 pounds in 9 months. I got to 20 pounds below my pre-pregnancy weight, and I was the most in shape I'd ever been in my life. And this was all because I changed what I was eating, and it felt easy, and I felt full and satisfied. And so at that point, multiple women that I was working with, and also other moms that lived in my neighborhood, everyone started expressing to me, wow, Nagina, how did you lose this weight? How did you do this? I thought that people get unhealthier after children. How did you get healthier after children? Yeah. And that's where I started sharing my story and sharing. So many people started asking me that I started realizing I needed to do something about this. And meanwhile, at the same time, because my children were getting to be they were growing up a little bit, I realized I didn't want to work at a corporate job where I had to be gone all the time. I was okay with it when they were really small. I was actually okay with it. But I knew as they started going to school that I needed to be there. I wanted to make sure that they were doing their homework. I wanted to talk to them about things. I wanted to inspire them. Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't be able to do that with the long working hours. And so that's really what really catapulted my transition, was that I first found that I had a change that was so hard for me to make, and I figured it out. I made a transformation in my life that meant a lot to me, that was really personal to me. And secondly, I wanted to change the way I worked, though I didn't want to quit working. I didn't want to stop working. I wanted an income. I wanted to have independence in my life, and I wanted to have a ceiling. I didn't want to have that ceiling that felt like I had to work so hard to get it. I wanted to break through that. So yes, so that's how I transitioned. That was the start of me realizing I wanted to do something on my own, and I really could do it in something that I had a lot of passion about, that I knew a lot of other women would want to also experience.
Wow. What a great story. That's amazing. I love that. There's a few things that you said that really I'd like to focus on is that you said you loved every aspect of your career, which is really important, like to hit for women who are listening to this podcast, because you can love your career. It doesn't mean that you have to hate it and that's why you leave. It's just that your circumstances may change. There may be some triggers. Like in your case, it was like, why do I have this excess weight? Why am I feeling like I don't have the energy and confidence in myself? So those are the triggers. It doesn't mean that and then you figure it out, like you figured it out. And people were interested in how you did it. And so you followed that passion, which is really incredible. And then you can kind of create the life that you want because you wanted to be with your children. You wanted to have the more independence, but also impart the knowledge that you had gained over the time. So that's fantastic, and that's what I really encourage women is that if they have something inside of them that they're passionate about. But what happens, and I guess this would be my next question, is they are held back by usually just their own fears. Okay, well, I really want to do this. However, I don't think I can, or how am I going to start? So what kind of challenges do you face? Because that you were in a very comfortable position, I'm sure, at Deloitte. Like what challenges do you face as you decided to go on your own and kind of reinvent yourself? Hi, my friend. Kavita here. Do you often feel blocked from moving forward? We all feel that way at times. These are referred to as energy blocks. I've created a short, actionable PDF guide to help you release your negative energy blocks. Click the link in the description to download it now for free. Now, let's get back to the episode.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think a big part of this is that saying that you are the average of the 5 closest people around you. And I think that actually was the reason that was a challenge that I had and a challenge that I had to overcome because everyone around me was in the corporate world used to working like that. And nobody knew anything differently. Though, I mean, I went to business school. Everyone that I knew was working in corporate jobs. And that was the dream to be able to have the job. I had my dream job. So everyone around me was feeling that way, like feeling really happy about it, but also we talked about the challenges of it, where there was a lot of work, there's a lot of demands, and it was just a point where I felt like the pain of being where I was greater than what I wanted to experience. And the pain was the fact that I was working so much and I felt the mental stress. Like I always felt like I was in a fire drill. And I just thought that's what work was. I just thought that's what it had to be. But then I just didn't feel good about it. And I just felt like I don't want this. And I don't want this feeling of having so much on my plate all the time. Like, can I have some time with my family and my friends where I feel calm and it's unlimited? And so really the challenge was that I was surrounded by other people like me, and I needed to get out of that. And so what I did is, because I didn't have all of the time to go to multiple coffee dates or dinners, or I didn't even have the ability to go there because I was at work or at home. So I really started getting really involved in online communities, and I started listening to podcasts just like this one. Like, this is actually a podcast type that I would listen to, that I would hear women talking about things, and I realized, oh my God, this is real for some people. And I also looked at people online that were really living, that had created businesses that inspired me. And I looked at their stories and I got to know them, and I got on their email list and I listened to everything they were putting out. And so I surrounded myself by them virtually because I knew that this could be possible when I heard other people's stories that were real people. And so really getting out of the current way of being, my current circle, and just looking out at what are other possibilities and immersing myself in them. And I use the virtual aspect because that's the only thing I had time for and the physical ability to do. That really helped me open up my mind into so many other possibilities in this world that I just didn't even know were possible. And so that really made it real for me, going from being in a feeling of really stressful life and feeling like I was like monitoring the minutes I had with my children to looking at this life that other people had and just being inspired by it. And then realizing I didn't have to live in that pain of feeling stressed all the time. And that really just gave me the hunger to get out.
Yeah.
So,
Wow. It's so funny. I could completely relate because when you are surrounded by people, like I think it's you mentioned that the people that you were surrounded with before, that was all they knew, right? But when you shifted and you surrounded yourself with a community, online community where you really wanted to explore that, there was your mental shift too, and that gave you the energy. And so that's great advice because I think as people are looking to change and shift, they feel like they're stuck, like they just have to do this because they've been doing this their whole life. Whereas it's like, no, you don't. If you're not happy with your circumstances or you're unsure or you don't want to be in that place anymore, look for other places, right? Look for
yes.
other and be inspired by other people because especially in the online world, I mean, there's so much out there that's great advice. And so that just made you hungry to do it, right? So and then when you said like the pain of being where you are is worse than so that's again
Yep.
another trigger. So that's really great. Yeah, I know that's how you overcome fears, I think, is just by doing, by
Yes.
taking that action. So that's what I say all the time is even just do one thing. Just do one thing, one a day, or just to get out of that comfort zone of being in that place that you've always been in. So wonderful. Yeah, I'm really passionate about this, as you can tell. So,
Yeah, I love it. Yes,
so,
yes. Well,
uh,
we have similar backgrounds in that we left corporate,
yes,
healthcare careers and
exactly.
to help other people accomplish their goals. And
Yes.
it also brings about so much fulfillment
Oh,
when you move
yes.
into that because every woman or every person that you help and that you talk to, you really feel this desire to help them. And
Oh,
it's
yeah.
more than work. It doesn't feel like work. It's
Yeah.
actually, you're
Yeah.
doing what you're meant to do.
Yeah. In fact, I just got a text from one of my previous clients who she was helping. She was wanting to figure out what she wanted to do next. And she just started her new job this morning. And she just texted me and she said, I was so excited and so grateful. And I was just like, oh my God, just makes you feel like you've actually made a difference in people's lives. So that's wonderful.
Yes,
Um,
absolutely.
so Nikita, both you and I focus on women primarily in midlife. And so tell me why that focus on, especially for women in midlife with respect to weight loss. And especially at this stage in life, why do our diets no longer work? And why does whatever we've been doing in the past kind of stop working in midlife?
Yes. Yes,
It's a
absolutely.
big
So,
topic, but maybe some highlights.
yes, absolutely. Well, before midlife, which I really reference as age 45 and above, because your body really starts experiencing changes around that time, although it could be a little bit before for some. Before that, we're able to get by sometimes with being a little unhealthier. If you eat unhealthy, sometimes if you just go work out or it comes off, or if you follow a diet, it can work. It can work at least temporarily, and it really doesn't ever work permanently. But after in midlife, what happens is those things don't work anymore. Diets actually no longer work, which is bad and good because sometimes you just want something to work quickly, but then at the same time, now you're learning that diets don't work. But guess what does? A lifestyle shift. A lifestyle shift actually works. And that would have been great if before you had gone into a lifestyle shift, because then it would have kept the weight off permanently and would have changed your eating permanently. But if you didn't do it before, you have to start looking at a lifestyle shift now because diets are just not going to work anymore. They're going to keep you stuck. And the reason for that is there's so many changes that are happening to our bodies in midlife that are a result of multiple things. So one of the things that happens in midlife is that we can become more inactive naturally. We're not doing as much. We're not going out as much. We're not doing things. That may be something that's happening. And so even with less walking or less activity, you're going to feel that on your body. You're going to feel that effect in terms of more fat gain happening on your body. But it's actually sometimes even, I mean, lifestyle is number one. So really looking at your lifestyle, if it's changing, if you're becoming more stressed. Women are a lot of times managing a career and managing children at the same time, or sometimes managing parents. So there is also so much stress that's happening on women. And when our cortisol hormone is increased, that actually reduces fat burning. Like When we increase stress, it has an effect on our sugar cravings. It has effect on our metabolism. And so though we were able to manage stress more than before, now when it happens, it's actually impacting our metabolism. So it's really important to have that lifestyle where you're not feeling stressed and not feeling bad about not doing so much, just feeling good about not doing it. But secondly, and thirdly, I want to talk about a couple other really, really important things, which are another thing that happens in midlife is that it's very common that we as women become more insulin resistant. And what that means is that when we are eating foods like carbohydrates, which are not bad, there's nothing wrong. And I don't think that anyone should take carbohydrates out. But when we're eating carbohydrates, carbohydrates break down to sugar. And when we have sugar in our blood, we have a hormone that's released called insulin, and insulin maintains our blood sugar levels and brings that sugar into our cells and stores it as fat so that we reduce our blood sugar. And so this is happening more often when you're in midlife because we become more insulin resistant. What that means is that sugar gets pulled out of the blood more quickly and into our fat. So it's more important to really look at what we're eating. And what we're eating is number one after stress. What you're eating is number one to help you increase your metabolism. And so we're becoming more insulin resistant. This is happening. Number three, we are actually reducing our muscle mass really quickly. And that's actually happening starting in our 30s. And when we reduce our muscle mass, that is causing our metabolism to go down because when we have more fat on our body than muscle, fat doesn't burn as many calories. Muscle burns more calories. So even if you're literally doing nothing, your muscle mass has been decreasing. And even if you're working out, your muscle mass is like you're fighting that muscle mass. So it's really important to build muscle because if we don't build muscle, and we focus only on cardio or we don't do any types of exercise, we're actually not going to be able to metabolize the food that comes into our body as quickly. And so we're going to gain more weight. And then finally, I talked a little bit about hormones along this way, but our hormones are massively fluctuating in midlife. And a lot of our hormones are going to be in decline as we move to menopause and move beyond menopause. And so because our hormones are declining, that causes belly fat increase. It causes this is the reason that our stress is affecting us more is because our hormones are declining. So stress, the way that it metabolizes in our body is going to play a bigger role. So when our estrogen is decreasing, our testosterone is decreasing, our progesterone is decreasing, it's having an effect on our metabolism and the way that our fat is stored. And so this is why one of the key things that I find women doing in midlife is to eat less because they've been taught that eating less is going to help you lose weight. Mm-hmm. But actually you'll notice, most women will notice if they've been eating less, they're staying stuck. Nothing's happening. They're not losing weight. It's really frustrating and it's really dumbfounding when you think that you're eating in a way that used to help you, but now you're just stuck. And sometimes you're stuck at a weight that's 10 or 15 pounds higher than you were before. And this is due to all of these things that I've mentioned. Different things affect different people, but it's because a result of this. But the answer is never to eat less. That's only going to keep you stuck. In fact, what you need to do is focus on increasing your metabolism by eating more of the foods that will increase your metabolism. And that's the way that you'll fix this.
Protein, right? A lot of protein.
And protein is one of the key things.
Yeah.
Yes. Protein more is absolutely my biggest mantra. Yes.
Yeah. So there's a lot going on with women in midlife.
Yes, there is.
And from what you just said, those four things, and I'm going to repeat them, but the four things all about is all these lead to increasing your metabolism, right? And so lifestyle shift that's happening, we're more insulin resistant. We're reducing, our muscle mass is being reduced and our hormones are fluctuating. All these lead to, this is why this stage is so much more difficult, it seems, to actually lose the weight and keep it off. Yeah, so I've experienced all of these things. Stress is one of them, of course. So tell me, so what if increasing metabolism is the key? So what are some of your top metabolism boosting principles, or what are some of your top tips? I know you probably have a ton, but maybe if you could just highlight for women who are experiencing all these four things that you just mentioned. what can we do?
So absolutely. No, there's absolutely things you can do. The reason I also wanted to share that and help describe it is because it's not our fault. We could be
No.
doing all the right things, but things are happening to our body that are different. And there's not a lot of information around this right now. There's a lot of confusion around what's happening. There's a lot of doing the same thing that we were doing before and just thinking, okay, well, I guess that's what happens as I get older. I guess that's what's going to happen. And I don't agree with accepting that because I have found ways to avoid that. When I came from someone I was a person who had such a hard time managing my weight, managing my food, never seeing the effect. But it's possible to make these changes and we can have control over our bodies. And it feels amazing when you do. So some of the top metabolism tips is number one, really start with food. And a lot of times, a lot of women will start with exercising, going and exercising so much or thinking they should exercise and feeling bad about it. You don't have to feel bad that you're not exercising. The number one thing to balance your hormones actually is food. And the number one thing to increase your metabolism is what you're eating. And if you skip steps and you go straight to working out and you go straight to things like hormone replacement therapy, which are all great things to do, but you don't know what you're eating, you'll never get into a state of complete health and a place where your weight is at the optimal place, which is going to help you with so many things. So a top tip that I want to start with is to add more protein and use my mantra, which is called protein more. And so protein is so important. It's one of the number one things also that women, especially in midlife, are missing out on. And this one thing will completely change your metabolism and increase it. It's the one thing that women say, once I start adding protein to my breakfast, I didn't feel sugar cravings all in the morning. I had more control at lunch, and they lose 2 to 4 pounds in the first week just by adding protein to breakfast. And so the reason that protein is so important is because protein does increase our metabolism. It keeps us more full for longer because it digests more slowly. And it's also helping to maintain our muscle mass. Even if you're not working out, we still need the building blocks to maintain our muscle because our muscle is rapidly decreasing, and having the right amount of muscle is going to be key to burning more fat and keeping a high metabolism. So protein is going to keep you satiated, full, and help you have that fat burning body, build that fat burning body. So a couple examples of adding protein to breakfast, and you should definitely add them to all meals, is to focus on having about 30 grams of protein at each meal. Just start with breakfast. And you can do this by having something like 2 eggs, but adding in 2 eggs is only going to give you 12 grams of protein. That's it. So if you're only having 2 eggs, you're feeling hungry, or you're feeling cravings, or you're just feeling like later on in the day you start binging, it's because you didn't start in the morning with the 30 grams of protein. So if you're having 2 eggs, what you can do is have 2 eggs with a side of Greek yogurt, a side of cottage cheese. You can have smoked salmon, or you can also do what the easiest thing is, what I do every morning, is to use a cup of liquid egg whites and just make that with my 2 eggs, because that liquid egg whites is going to give you about 20 grams of protein that's going to add to that 12 grams from the eggs. And you're making the eggs anyway. So you just add it, and you're eating more. It's so surprising.
You have 2 eggs, and then you add a cup of liquid egg whites to it.
Yep. And you make just a scramble. Yeah. Because the liquid egg whites are a lean source of protein, so they don't have fat in it. You're getting fat from your eggs. So you don't want to eat more eggs because you're going to overeat on fat. You're going to get too much cholesterol. So when you're eating, you're just adding a source of lean protein. That could either be Greek yogurt, it could be cottage cheese, it could be some other kind of meat, or it could be doing a scramble with egg whites. And you could put any kinds of veggies you want in this, and that works really well. But then you can also have a side of berries or a side of other fruit that's lower sugar. Things like half of a pear, a half of an apple. So you're keeping your sugar low, because we want to increase your protein, but keep your sugar low, because that's really the formula for you to burn more fat. Then your insulin's not being released to pull in that sugar and store it as fat. And you're also feeling full and satiated from what you're eating, and you have those building blocks for your muscle. So that's one way. Another way is to have a smoothie in the morning, which is a big favorite of so many women, especially women that have to get up and go earlier in the morning. And having a smoothie, including protein powder, which I absolutely recommend. And I do encourage women to find a protein powder that they enjoy, because it's a really efficient, fast, healthy way of getting a boost of 30 grams of protein. And a lot of women feel uncomfortable with it, but I want you to get comfortable with it. It's completely okay, especially the kinds that are out now, as long as you're looking for one that has low sugar and higher protein, about 25 to 30 grams in a scoop. And you can add that to almond milk. You can add it to water. You can add it to any other non-dairy milk. And then you can add in like a half cup of berries. You could also put a cup of spinach. And then one of the other hacks that I'll share as I'm sharing the smoothie recipe is to add a sprinkle of cinnamon. And so using spices like cinnamon actually lowers your blood sugar and it gives you that sweetness, but it doesn't spike your insulin. And so adding cinnamon throughout your breakfast is a really great way to start lowering your blood sugar, which is going to cause you to not have those insulin spikes. So you're not storing fat, instead you're burning fat. So this smoothie, I just shared the ingredients for it. I call it the metabolism boosting morning mint and berry smoothie. When you add 6 or so leaves of mint, then you get the beautiful taste and smell of mint. And mint also actually has been shown in multiple studies that it decreases overeating and it decreases sugar cravings. And so you're having this amazing smoothie in the morning. It has strawberries. It has a nice protein powder. You even are getting spinach that you don't even taste because of everything else in there, but you're getting that rush of spinach, but you're also getting that mint that's decreasing overeating. And you're getting the cinnamon that's helping you lower your blood sugar level so that you burn more fat. And so when you just blend this up in a regular blender, it takes 2 minutes to make and it takes 2 minutes to eat. That's it, or to drink. And so that's a really, really great way. So adding protein is key. I gave you a few examples of how to do that to breakfast, and then just stay focused on having a protein source at lunch and dinner, which could be chicken, beef, turkey, tofu. It could be lentils. If you add in some hemp seeds for vegetarians or vegans, add in some hemp seeds, which increases the protein for the lentils without increasing the carbs. That's a challenge for vegetarians. And so it's important to increase your protein without also increasing your carbs, but keeping it at a good place. And then Greek yogurt is another great protein source for vegetarians. But just try to make sure you're having that throughout the day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and have your 3 meals. It's not a good thing to skip a meal because you're not getting enough of the protein. You're not getting enough of the food that your body needs. And our body needs this protein and this food more than ever because we're also declining in our hormone production. So we really need to give our bodies what it needs so our thyroid isn't going down. So all of our other hormones, it's helping with all of those things. So protein is number one. Adding some spices is a great way to boost your metabolism. I talked about cinnamon, mint. You can also add turmeric to your eggs, turmeric is a beautiful yellow color. It's a very mild spice and it's anti-inflammatory. So it decreases puffiness in our face. It decreases puffiness in our belly. And so doing even those 2 key things are really going to help with your metabolism, but being consistent is the third piece of it. Consistency is boring, and boring gets you slim, boring gets you healthy, boring gets you wearing the clothes that you want to wear, and also going to the doctor's office and having all the numbers and the results that you want because you're consistent. You're not thinking about, what do I do today? You already know, because like it's really ideal if you have similar breakfasts that you eat, like 1 or 2 breakfasts. Like you don't have to think about multiple ones. You can have similar lunches, but maybe you change up the protein or you change up the salad or the veggie that you're having. So you keep it similar and simple, and that gives you consistency. And if you can even do this for 5 days, you're going to see results on the scale. You're going to see results when you take your measurements in your waist, and you're going to feel better as well. So those are those are 3 examples.
Makes me want to go out and make that smoothie right now.
Yes, good. It's delicious.
Mint, cinnamon, almond. Would you put Greek yogurt in that? in the
So if you,
smoothie, or that'd be make it too thick, right?
no,
Probably.
you actually could use Greek
Yeah.
yogurt if you want to replace the protein powder and have something else, or you have the Greek yogurt on hand. Yeah, you can use Greek yogurt because it's
Yeah.
a good amount of protein.
Yeah. Great tips and fantastic. I was going to ask you, it's interesting because you were mentioning some of these spices and being Indian, like these are all Indian spices, and
Yep.
our parents were right.
Yes,
This is all from
absolutely.
Ayurveda, right? So Ayurvedic, the principles of Ayurveda. So like the mint, the cinnamon, the turmeric. What are some of the other ones that you, secret ones that you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. So the other spices that are really great. So these are, and I want to mention these are all mild, if not sweet spices that I've mentioned because some
Yeah.
people don't like spicy, and spices don't have to be spicy. They can just be flavorful. And so using spices really helps us flavor our food while also getting metabolism boosting benefits without adding foods that are really, really slowing our metabolism
Hmm.
and adding sugar. Another really excellent spice is to use cumin, which is really has been proven to decrease belly fat.
Hmm.
And cumin is something that you could use in any kind of like chili, beans, lentils, but you could also do like a spice rub with cumin, salt, pepper, and anything else, and put it onto any kind of meat or or even vegetable would be really good. So cumin is excellent. And then one more that I'll mention, actually, I'll mention two more because I want to add in a spicy one for those of you that like spice. But a non-spicy one is coriander. Coriander is something that you can sprinkle onto your vegetables, onto your fish. This is going to decrease water retention. So it really helps with debloating. It helps you slim your stomach. It just helps you reduce the water that's in your body due to other things that you may be eating. And then finally, the spicy spice is cayenne pepper or any version of cayenne pepper. So spicy spices have the compound called capsaicin, and capsaicin actually increases our calorie burning and increases our metabolism. And if you're someone that doesn't usually eat spice and you add one of these spices that has capsaicin in it, you're going to feel like you're going to maybe start slightly sweating. You're going to feel that. But if you're so you're going to see that it's working. But if you're someone that is used to spice, it's
Hmm.
still working for you. You're just not getting those physical feelings because you're so used to it. But cayenne pepper, another version of that is red chili flakes that we see at pizza places. That's a really easy way to add things, sprinkle something on top of what you're eating. And paprika is the mildest version of capsaicin, where it's even slightly sweet. It has a little bit of spice, but it's a great way to get introduced to this
Hmm.
compound capsaicin and get this calorie burning going.
Wow. That's fantastic. And it's the combination of all these things and consistency as well. So
Yes.
it's such a wonderful tips and very practical. So thank you for sharing.
Oh,
Really
yes.
appreciate that.
Thank you. Yeah.
So, Nagina, tell us about, I think that you have a program coming up, or tell us how people can learn more. I'm sure that people who are listening are very fascinated and want to learn a lot more and right, get into it. And maybe just make after they listen to this, they're probably going to want to go and make that smoothie like I do. So tell us, tell us a little bit about your program and some of the things that are coming up for you.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I am so excited that I have a live program coming up just starting very soon. And it's called the 5-Day Metabolism Boost for Midlife Women. And that's where I'm going to be sharing every day for 5 days a simple 5-step plan to naturally boost your metabolism through delicious food. And so we have the link. I think we're going to put the link below, but you can go to masalabody.com/boost and get your spot there. It's coming up really soon. And I'm going to be teaching you all the details of what metabolism boosting breakfasts you can have. I'm going to give you multiple options. I'm going to be showing you how to get off sugar without feeling tired or restricted. And I'm going to be walking through a 4-part fat burning food framework, which shows you how to pair your foods and what to add to your lunches and to your dinners. So I'm going to be really giving you a roadmap. So that's a really great way to just jump in and find out how to transform your body body. And then in addition to that, you can always check out my website, masalabody.com, and take a look at what I have there. Find a resource. I have a lot of resources there that you can download, like a sweet spice cheat sheet that really helps you decrease your sugar cravings and also gives you a fat burning fire tea recipe that fires away belly fat. I have those resources there as well. And I'm also going to be sharing a lot of those during my 5-day metabolism boost. And so that's how you can find out more about me.
Wonderful. And when does this program start, Nagina?
This starts on June 17th. So it's going to be live on June 17th.
Okay. All right. Yes. And we'll definitely have the links. This will be in time for that. So this will be released in time for that. So we will have the links to this. Sounds like a fantastic program. I might join myself. So
awesome.
Yes. It's interesting. Like I was mentioning before, some of these ancient spices and remedies that our parents we've heard about, bringing those in and adding other things, like making sure that we have the protein, that we have the consistency, and that we make sure that we also do the weights, like get the muscle, get the movement. But all of these things are so important. But the food part of it is really interesting, and I think that's missing for a lot of women. And so you've really provided a lot of food for thought.
I love it.
So thank you so much for sharing. It's really, really interesting and very relevant, I think, in this stage of our lives. So any last things you might want to just share on part before we go?
Well, I mean, the final thing I would say is that really that once you start taking control of your weight and of what you're eating, it absolutely just skyrockets energy and productivity and feeling that confidence about yourself that okay, if I accomplish this, I can accomplish anything. And so this is also something that I see a lot of women as they take their health journeys, it gives them that confidence to really say, and that energy to say, okay, I want to start my own business, or I want to find this new job. I feel better about myself to walk into a room. And we should always feel great about ourselves, no matter what we look like on the outside. That's not the number one thing, but it does have an effect on how we feel about ourselves when we're giving ourselves the self-care and the self-love. And then we start to see the results. It feels just very, very energizing. And also it makes you feel very accomplished. So this path is very worth it. I really feel that one of the best investments that we can make, especially at this time in our lives, is in our health. And doing what it takes to do it is absolutely, you're never going to regret it.
Mm-hmm. Well said. And you're a perfect example of somebody who's lived that. So it's the inside, it's coming from the inside out. And if you feel good inside and externally, the confidence builds and you can basically tackle whatever is in front of you with more confidence and energy. So wonderful. I love the conversation. Thank you so much for being here. And for anyone who's listening, please do join Nagina's 5-day metabolism boosting program. And we'll have the links in the show notes, and please check her out, and looking forward to hearing more. So thank you so much for being here.
Yes, thank you.
I trust you enjoyed this episode with Nagina Abdullah, and it inspired you to take charge of your health and weight loss journey now. Here are her key takeaways. Number 1, you can boost your metabolism naturally. Instead of relying on restrictive diets or extreme workouts, focus on incorporating metabolism-boosting foods into your daily diet. This approach can help reduce belly fat, manage your sugar cravings, and achieve sustainable weight loss. Number 2, prioritize protein intake. One of the most effective ways to increase metabolism and maintain muscle mass, especially in midlife, is by prioritizing protein intake. Aim to include about 30 grams of protein in each meal. Start your day with a protein-rich breakfast, such as eggs with Greek yogurt or a protein smoothie, to keep you full and energized, and to prevent sugar cravings. Number 3, adapt to midlife body changes. Understand that your body undergoes significant changes during midlife, affecting how it processes food and stores fat. Factors like decreased muscle mass, hormonal fluctuations, Increased insulin resistance and higher stress levels can impact your metabolism. Adapting to these changes with a lifestyle shift, rather than relying on diets that worked in the past, is crucial for effective weight management. And number 4, create a supportive environment. Surround yourself with a supportive community that aligns with your health and wellness goals. Seek out resources and stories from people who have successfully navigated similar transitions to stay motivated and inspired on your own journey. Seek out coaches like myself and Nagina to support, encourage, and give you a plan of action. So for our Motivational Monday segment, here are some examples of inspirational stories of women who have transformed their health and weight in midlife and achieved great things. You may have heard of Rebel Wilson. The actress is known for her roles in comedies like Pitch Perfect. Rebel underwent a dramatic weight loss transformation in her 40s. She adopted healthier eating habits and a rigorous exercise routine, losing over 60 pounds. Her transformation has not only improved her health, but also boosted her confidence and her career. Of course, you know of Jane Fonda, who is an iconic actress and fitness guru, and she has been a symbol of health and fitness for decades. In her midlife, she continued to prioritize her health through exercise and healthy eating. Fonda has produced numerous workout videos, written books on fitness, and remains active in advocacy and activism well into her 80s. These women demonstrate that it is possible to make significant health and weight transformations in midlife and to go on to achieve great things. So remember, you can join Nagina in her 5-day Metabolism Boost workshop for midlife women. Where you'll discover a simple 5-step plan to naturally boost your metabolism through delicious food. You can check out the link in the show notes. And remember, if you are stuck, not only in your health and weight struggles right now, but in other aspects of your life, like your career, your relationships, or your general energy levels, book a complimentary call with me today, and let's dive into what may be blocking you from moving forward. You can download my Negative Energy Blocks guide in the show notes, and you can also book a free call with me to discuss your particular situation. Just email me at Kavita, Kavita, at itsmytimenowcoaching.com. Till next time, my friend, stay very well and stay motivated.